Hello everyone, this is Risky Lizard. Just a quick guide on how to prioritize buying things from the in-game stores, be that with in-game currencies or with real-world money. I'm just going to give you a quick tour of all the stores, what to prioritize and what is an absolute waste, and frankly I just wouldn't bother with it. So we'll start off with how to access the different stores. For all of the pay money and real life stuff, it's going to be up here on the top right. And for the, as far as like the hot deals, and there'll be different promotions coming through here. And then there's your daily stuff that they throw in your face with big percentages on it to tell you it's a good deal. And for the most part, these are usually a pretty good deal. And then there's the mall, which rarely would I recommend buying anything out of this store. It's seldom ever worth it. This is where whales go to spend way too much money just to get ahead of everybody else, and they pay a premium for that because most of the stuff here isn't really worth it, but I'll get into that later. So let's start off with the free-to-play stuff and what you can purchase for in-game currencies. There's two ways you can access those stores. A lot of people do it through the Alliance tab here. Then you can click Alliance Store right here in the middle on the left, and that'll bring you here to the Alliance Store. And then there's tabs at the top, and you can go through all of these. So let's start off with the Diamond Store. There's not really any reason to buy stuff out of this store ever, with the exception of trade contracts. Trade contracts are used to refresh the train if you get assigned as the conductor over here. So if you get assigned as the conductor, you can use 5 contracts there. So that might be a time you might want to buy contracts, or you can use the contracts, of course, to re-roll these. And once you're out of contracts, you can buy more there. That is kind of worth it in the VIP store, but apart from that, I don't ever really buy anything else from here. Maybe I'll buy, sorry, not the VIP store, the Diamond store. Sometimes I'll buy some advanced teleporters during Capital War to get the drop on somebody, but it's very expensive to buy those. It's kind of like a privilege only for the whales, if you will. But don't buy the Legendary Recruit tickets or Survivor tickets. Just you can get these from Doom Elites and just playing the game, from gifts by the Alliance and stuff. Resources are possibly the worst deal in the entire game. This is the worst rate return on investment, in my opinion, in the entire game. If you ever come to the point where you're buying resources here, you're doing something severely wrong, or just ignoring other methods. Or you're a whale trying to speed to the end of the game, so you can minimize your enjoyment as much as possible. So, going into the next store, VIP. This is the sweet spot. This is where you want to spend most of your diamonds. I wouldn't really recommend using diamonds to ever speed anything up, because buying certain things out of this store weekly are absolutely essential. And I haven't bought all my stuff for the week, so they're not all there yet, but I'll kind of run you through what to buy and what not to buy. Don't buy the resources. Not a good deal at all. Usually, even if you're at your plunder cap, hitting a few bases can get you more than this will. They just don't give a lot of resources. If you have stamina, you can do Doom Elites, or you can wait till Zombie Invasion to do zombie bosses or coin zombies, and those can give you a ton of resources as well. But try to budget your resources, leave them all in the chest, don't open them until you need them, and you won't have issues with people taking them from you. But moving on, Universal Decor component is good if you have a lot of excess, but not a high priority. But this is one of the few places where you can get a good chunk of them each week, and upgrading decorations is a very late game power advantage. But if you start early when you have extra diamonds laying around, I think this is going to be a total of 5,000 each week. It's not a bad thing to buy, but I usually buy that last if I just have overflow of diamonds, which is rare. So I always buy the stamina. You can only get 3 of these. It's very cheap. Can't see the listed price right now, but always buy the stamina. Don't bother getting super alloy. You can get that from your screw facilities here. That's for making gear. And when it comes to making this stuff, you typically get plenty of blue gear and purple gear from crates from plundering trucks to get super alloy. And you can always merge the screws from those facilities. If you upgrade those, you can get a ton from just merging those, and that'll help feed your dielectric ceramic addiction. So going back into the store, another way to get there, by the way, is this building that looks like it has a pumpkin out front and looks like maybe a persimmon or an apple or a pear and an orange. You can click that. It'll take you to the diamond store, and then all the tabs are up here at the top. But moving right along, advanced teleporters, these are a really good deal if you're heavily into player versus player, which guess who is? Me. The drone components, it's tempting, but it's going to get to a point where the amount that this costs, which is 12,400 just for that many and 20,000 for all of them, that's a ton of diamonds when you're only on the free to play side getting like 40 to 50,000 or 60,000 diamonds a week if you're very active. But it gets to a point where like I need 140 drone components to go up one level. Like it's not really worth sinking that much diamonds into, or that many diamonds into, to get it up that next level. So I've been skipping drone parts for a long time, and even in the beginning it wasn't really worth it to me. The skill medal isn't worth it, in my opinion. It's not a lot of skill medals. You want to get your skill medals by competing in your daily arms race. You want to open as many of these chests as possible. This is your primary source of skill medals, and you get 1,000 at the final chest if you can get it. You kind of want to plan and budget by looking at this calendar, see what's coming up, and try to time it so that you can always open as many of these chests as possible, and at least 18 of these a day, because the last chest has 2 universal shards in it, legendary recruit tickets, and as a daily reward, this is pretty good. So high priority, definitely try to focus on doing arms race, and that's where you'll get, I think, anywhere from 60 to 80,000, just doing loose math in my head on the spot about how many skill medals you can expect each week. Every time verse comes around on Hero Day, I usually have somewhere between like 100 to 120,000 skill medals, because you also get them by completing your hidden treasure digs. You get a lot of skill medals from these chests that you get out of here. If you look at the rewards, there's 300 on lower tiers, 600 on epic, 1800 for legendary. So you can get quite a bit of skill medals in other places. It's not worth it really to spend the diamonds, in my opinion. So blue shards, not essential at all, kind of a waste. But if you really want an overpowered Loki, just to mess with people, you could go for it, but I wouldn't buy these. I buy the experience every single week. There are purple chests, which are these hero experience chests, and then these are legendary hero experience chests, and the availability of these items is going to vary depending on your VIP level. I'm VIP 12, so I have access to quite a few things, but as you go up, I'm pretty sure you get access to more and more items in the VIP store. But this is what I have right now, which I think is pretty average for most people, and if not, it might just be showing more than what you have. Highest priority if drone chips are out for you is to get these rare skill chip chests. These are kind of expensive, but highest priority because drone chips make you very, very powerful. The upgrade ore, not really worth it. In my opinion, again, you're limited to 1500. 1500 upgrade ore is almost like a few secret tasks, but I don't think it's really worth 6,000 diamonds, because I would rather get, for example, 200 speed ups. I could get 200 5-minute speed ups for 1600. This is on another topic. Something else I would recommend buying every week are the speed ups. I don't buy the survivor tickets, it's just too expensive. Again, 10,000 for 50. Not going to make a huge impact for what you're spending, but you know, buying all of these speed ups for 4,300, that is going to make a pretty big impact. That's 60 hours of skips you can use for verse. It's a lot of points. This one, the 3-hour speed ups, I also buy those. I don't think I have enough diamonds right now. I do, so I'm going to buy them. Just proving my point here that, you know, practicing what I preach. This is what I buy every week. And I also would buy these shards. I don't quite have 3,000, and I don't want to forget to come back and buy the last one, so I'm just going to wait. But I also do buy the 8-hour speed ups. That's about another 4,000. These are really good deals for speed ups, is what I'm trying to say. You get a little bit better price per minute buying them here and using them than you do when you just go to speed something up. So when you go here and they give you an option to finish now for X amount of diamonds. The amount of diamonds that this costs to skip this amount of time, this is quite a bit more diamonds. I did the math one day. It's quite a bit more diamonds to skip with diamonds than to just skip with speed ups. So you're getting a discount when you buy these, especially like this one's 60% off. So you're saving diamonds by buying these skips, and you're going to skip stuff eventually, so just do that. Always buy the legendary shards if you have these available, though. I don't buy dielectric ceramics. Again, I don't have a problem obtaining these. I usually plunder weapon crates from trucks that have shards anyway, so I'm not super worried about that. And unless you're just rushing power or you're on a very competitive server that doesn't have a non-aggression pact, you might want to buy these to get your gear up in level or get more gear. But I don't really need to worry about that. Like, as far as my gear is concerned, I've got a fully geared air squad, a fully geared tank squad, and I'm starting to put gear on my 3rd missile squad. So I've got plenty of gear going for me, and I not one single time have bought dielectric ceramics from this store or any store. I just plunder weapon crates, and I make sure I've always got one crafting at my gear factory that's level 20. So you can go here and you can pick the different types of gear, and just always make sure you're dismantling and merging and keeping up to the 750 area or 800 plus to craft these different ones. 750. So always had one of those cooking pretty much since I started, and I never had a deficit. But if you have extra diamonds and you want to, I guess you could spend them there, but there's just smarter places to spend it. Going into the Alliance store, my priorities are actually back to the VIP store. One more thing. The Epic Hero Shards, this can kind of be worth it, but only if you're trying to catch up one specific thing, and that is the wall level for Mason before Season 1. So if you get Mason to level 160 minus 96, if you get him to level 160 on the Wall of Honor for tanks, your tank center has to be level 20 to access the Wall of Honor. Once he's level 60, when you convert him to a UR character like Murphy Orange in Season 1, he'll automatically be made 5 stars. So it's a very high priority to spend all your purple shards getting him to 160 before Season 1. And if you feel like you started late, or you haven't been doing that, or you've made the mistake like I did and you put quite a few shards on your other purple characters, you might want to buy some of those shards to, increase his tier to 5 stars and start getting your universals and putting them all on the Wall of Honor to get him to 160 sooner. That might be a situation where you buy the shards out of this store, but not to get too much into it. The last thing I'm going to buy out of this store are legendary shards and these 8-hour speed ups. So I need to come back here with a total of 4,800 plus 3,000, so 7,800 in total. Totally obtainable. Today is only 1 a.m. on Friday, so I've still got a couple of days to get that many diamonds, and I'll have no issue getting them between spending stamina for Doom Elites and just participating in events and activities in the game. And if we win our Capital War tomorrow, we get a ton of diamonds from egg drops in the world chat and also from farming the resource tiles afterward. So that generally is what my store looks like after I've bought most of the stuff and what I would and wouldn't get. Into the Alliance store, this one's really easy. I buy the 2 top rows. I do buy the Survivor tickets here because you get so many Alliance points, there's really no reason not to. So I buy the Legendary Hero Shards, the Survivor tickets, the Violet Shards. Violet is a similar situation in Season 2, how Mason, if you get him to 160, you can convert him to UR and he'll be 5 stars in Season 1. Well, in Season 2, the same thing applies to Violet, and Violet is the Violet one. This is Violet. So you can convert her to 5 stars in Season 2 if she's 160 on the Wall of Honor, and then Mason's the other one that they have out right now that you can get a free 5-star UR character out of if he's 160 on the wall by Season 1. So far, those are the only 2. To be determined if there's going to be a third available in Season 3. So, back to the stores. Alliance store. I would buy the violet shards because right now they're obtainable in the Alliance store, but as I understand it, these cycle out, and different shards become available, so I would say get them while you can. I do buy the drone parts from here. Again, this is a free currency that's easy to obtain as long as you're going to your Alliance and you're helping people throughout the day. You can get up to, for me it says 1,000 that you can get from helps for coins gained from Alliance helping. You can also get additional coins converted by doing a few tech donations in diamonds. I usually donate up to about 40 or 50. Once it's 50, I usually stop, but it's to help the Alliance out. It gives me a few extra points, and that's a relatively small amount of diamonds relative to what you get throughout the week. But you want to come here and make sure you're donating your tech, and there's a timer for how many points you have, but you can have up to 30 stored. You want to keep this empty as often as possible, and you'll have no problem with Alliance points throughout the week. But back to the store. I buy the drone component chests to make my drone stronger. I buy the rare chip skill chests, the combat experience to unlock more presets for drone chips. Usually at the start of the week, if you know you're going to participate in the kill event or not, I try to buy the bubbles I'm going to use for that week, if I use them at all. I usually don't bubble at the start of kill event and do my PvP, and then I bubble for as long as I'm going to sleep, usually 12 hours, and then I just wake whenever I wake up. I just keep the game open. I play a lot, so I usually, after the 12-hour wears off in the middle of the day after the reset, like the halfway point, I will just, or I guess the quarter point, I will PvP for like the first 6 hours and then put on a 12-hour shield, go to bed, wake up, do whatever I have to do for the day, and then for the last 6 hours before reset, I'll go do some more PvP. So I usually just buy the 12 hours. I like to have a lot of these. Again, in my inventory, you can see I've got 3 of them. That's enough for 3 kill event days or 3 weeks, so I don't go too crazy with stockpiling, but that's generally another good one to buy. But whatever fits your playstyle. Advanced teleporters, I do try to buy this every week. I haven't had enough Alliance points to really throw at it, but since we have Capital War tomorrow, I am going to go ahead and buy that. I use that a lot. Alliance teleporters, it's good to keep a couple of these on you. If you're an R4 or R5 in your Alliance, you kind of have an added benefit. You can click anywhere and set an assembly point. And if you do set the assembly point, you can then use your Alliance teleporters to teleport to wherever the assembly point is set. So it's kind of like an advanced teleporter, but not as accurate. It'll get you in a general area that you want to go, which can be really nice because it's much cheaper than the advanced teleporters are. But that's only for R4s and R5s, but you could always ask an R4 or an R5 to move the assembly point wherever you want it. Just pick a node, a base, or a coordinate, message it to them, say, hey, can you set the assembly point here on our server? And then you can use an Alliance teleporter to get over there if you're trying to farm or something like that. And then the random teleporters are really nice, so long as you don't have squads out. If you're on your server or on an enemy server, you can just go to your inventory and you can click on one of these random teleporters and click use, and it will teleport you somewhere random on the entire map, so somewhere out there. It'll teleport you, and it's really good for getting away from like whales or whatever. They'll always assume you teleported to a different server and use the free teleport. They'll rarely think that you teleported somewhere on their server, and they might burn their cooldown trying to come to you by going back to their server and then back to you again. So it's a good way to get people to waste teleports, and they're relatively cheap, but they're really, really beneficial for PvP. But remember, you can only use them if none of your squads are out. They all have to be in your base, or you can't use any of these teleports. So don't completely put off the cross-server teleport. That one you can use whether your squads are out or not. Again, I don't buy dielectric ceramics, synthetic resin, or super alloy. I get plenty of that from weapon crates and weapon breakdowns and screw factories. I never buy the epic resource chests here. Again, you're not getting enough resources to justify spending and wasting 12,000 Alliance points. If you are planning to upgrade a lot of legendary survivors, you might want to buy this one a couple of times. If you have like a huge amount of alliance points, like after Fellows in Danger event with Monica, and you just need something to buy, it's actually worth it to buy these survivor tokens. The survivor tokens are used when you go to upgrade survivors in your survivor list. Anytime you go to upgrade these, it costs incrementally more and more and more survivor tokens. So it can get pretty expensive. It was costing, when I got my Tailor to 5 stars, over 2,000 per fragment of the star for the 5th star. So it always feels like you have a lot until you don't. And then you're limited on how many you can buy. So it's good to kind of keep a good stockpile of those if you're doing a lot of survivor upgrades. Which I'm not right now, so I don't buy it. I recommend buying every single one of these speed ups, even the healing speed ups, because you can use the healing speed ups in things like in the events you have a Winter Storm Battlefield. You can use speed ups to get your troop backs. It's less worth it here because the rewards are not as good, but mainly in Desert Storm, where the rewards are significantly better. You do want to try to sometimes use those speed ups in this event to try to get some troops back if you don't have enough substitutes to come in and have more people with troops. So buy all of the speed ups, but I would prioritize the research speed ups above all else, then construction, then training, and then healing last. So research, construction, training, healing, in that order. And that's everything out of the Alliance store. For the Honor store, never buy anything out of the store except for gear blueprints. The only way that you can obtain these is by buying them in the Glittering Market, or they'll sometimes have pay-to-play events going on, like hero passes and stuff that might offer some, but these are very time-gated in how many you can usually get without spending a ton of money, and per 16 of these, it's about $100 US. So 100 USD for 16 of these versus just spending all your points here. You'll save a lot of money in the long run because you're going to need these to put dots on your weapons, or your gear, rather. How I have dots on these, once they get to level 40, you start needing the gear blueprints to put dots. It takes 5 for the 5 gear blueprints for the first dot, then 10, then 15, then 20, and then it takes 10 mythic blueprints to get the 5th dot, which is what I have on this gun. But out of all this gear, you can kind of see I don't have a lot of dots on it because you really are limited in how many of the gear blueprints you can get. So only buy the gear blueprints. Don't buy the legendary skill chip chests. I know it's tempting. Do not buy the decoration chests. You're not going to get hardly any benefit from either of these two compared to what a gear blueprint can give you in terms of how many you need. So keep in mind, to fully upgrade all of your gear to 4 dots on a full squad, it takes 1,000 gear blueprints, which is a ton of honor. So keep that in mind. You really don't have the luxury of wasting it on other stuff. Campaign store. The campaign store, you get this currency from completing campaign in this tower. When you complete these different events, you want to switch your gear around and switch your heroes around to try to do as much of these as you can every time they reset. And the reason why you want to do that is because when you finish these, you get these rewards down here. And in these chests, they have various things that you can get. One of the most important ones is the military monument here. I've gotten quite a few, you can see. But this one increases your damage of monsters and your hero defense, so pretty important to get those. But also, you get campaign medals, and the campaign medals are used in the campaign store to buy all of this stuff. And as you can see, I've got 271,000 campaign medals. The goal is not to spend them to 0, because once you get to a place where you can't really progress any further, you get less campaign medals per week. So I personally recommend buying these top 3 rows, and then I buy the legendary recruit tickets because this gives me hero shards and the hero XP. The hero XP is my highest priority because I'm trying to bring all of my squads up in level so that they're less squishy if I need to rely on them for anything at all. So back to the campaign store just to touch on it a little bit more. You can get the military monuments from this. You want to get the drone chip chests because those are blue. Definitely get the hero shards. And again, you get so many campaign points, it's just worth it to buy all of these things that are in the store. The upgrade ore here is a pretty good deal too. The dielectric ceramics are a horrible deal. 60,000 points for 200 of these is a bit of a joke, but if you're in a crunch and you're trying to, upgrade to a mythic or something and you just need a ton of these, you might buy them here, but definitely don't buy them for diamonds. But this wouldn't be the worst place to buy them. The speed ups are also not worth it here. 100,000 campaign points for 200 hours of speed ups relatively is not worth it, because even though I've got a ton of campaign points, I'm about to hit a dead end because I'm stopping for a while at level 28 to catch everything up. I'm not really going to be able to blow through 2 of these and 2 of these each time this resets, so I'm not going to be getting a ton of campaign points. So I'm budgeting mine for the long haul. So this is all of the free-to-play stuff, and I'm going to just quickly go through the pay-to-play stuff because I care less about it. The mall on the top right, these daily sales, even though they say 5,765%, these aren't really worth it. In total, what you're getting from this pack, and you can switch these to whatever hero you want, they're not worth it, in my opinion. So this for $5, if you divide the amount of shards that you get for $5, you're spending about 50 cents per shard. So divided by 10, because you get 10 in total. You get 2, 3, and 5, which is 10 shards. So 10 shards divided by the $5 is going to be, or $5 divided by the 10 shards is 50 cents per shard, which is kind of a terrible deal. Below the mall, there's hot deals and there's these daily pop-ups. When you see shards for sale here, that's typically the best place to buy shards, in my opinion. It's the best deal. Anytime a new hero comes out, there will be a hero pack that will pop up here. After you learn the hero, you'll always get the pack for 7 days to buy them. That's the best deal for getting a hero at least to 4 stars or close to 4 stars, so you only need about 45 universal shards. But I wouldn't really bother with the daily stuff. Again, all of these, not actually good deals. The percentages are, in my opinion, not super accurate for these. They usually are accurate everywhere else, but I wouldn't buy really any of this stuff unless you just have a lot of money to throw at the game. Then I would say be my guest. I think the monthly pass is worth it. This gives you access to the 4th squad pad here, and when you go to do research, you'll see that I have my 1st garage and my 4th garage maxed out. The time to upgrade these was as short, if not shorter, than Garage 1. So Garage 1 and Garage 4, both really easy research upgrades to get like max speed movement on these two. And the monthly pass also helps you maintain your VIP status so that you don't have to actually, buy VIP time down here. It says I have 15 days. That's how much is left on my monthly pass. If you don't buy the monthly pass, you have to spend a ton of diamonds to keep your VIP status active so that you get all of these bonuses and the daily freebies and stuff like that. So I would keep that in mind. I think that the monthly deal is worth it. And the weekly pass, this is worth it in the beginning, I think, because it gives you quite a bit of resources and diamonds and stuff to kind of help you get started, but it's less worth it as the game progresses. And the hero experience, if you're trying to catch up on hero experience, it's kind of worth it. I would say this is about a middle value item, but kind of expensive for how little you get, considering it's only 373 million experience for me for the whole week. I'd rather buy the experience from the VIP store and also buy the experience from the campaign store, and that does it for me. This says fast growth packs, like drone part packs and stuff like that. These are just like little $5 slot machines in my opinion, but none of this is worth $5 in my opinion. And this one, they kind of just skipped out on the $5 and went straight to $100 on this one. But I mean, you get a lot of diamonds, a lot of decoration components, but in the scale of what $100 in power is going to get you, this isn't going to get you a ton. This is just your headquarters progression. Each level you go up, for the most part. Every 2 levels you go up, you get little useless rewards. Never buy diamonds. Never. Ever. Ever buy this. Do not buy diamonds. If you want diamonds this bad, go to any of the weekly deals and buy these packs and get the diamonds at least with something useful. But do not just straight buy diamonds. This is the worst deal in the game, and I would argue that that deal rivals buying stuff out of the diamond store itself. So while these resources are absolute horrible deals, right up there tied with them in my opinion is the diamond store for diamonds. So where you spend diamonds in the diamond store and where you buy diamonds, never buy this. Absolute awful, awful, awful return on your investment. As far as your hot deals, these are also things that usually have the best value stuff in it. This is where they get a lot of people to spend money, and they know it, so they make it a good deal so that you will buy stuff. There are different events. Right now it's the Glittering Market. They have Ambo Bonanza. They have the Supply Call-In with the little red smoke. They have all sorts of things. I personally don't think the Glittering Market is worth it, with the exception of this top row stuff. And the top row stuff, this is a good opportunity. If you missed heroes, you can just spend $5 to buy 80 of these glitter coins. And with those 80 glitter coins, you can spend 60 each day of the event. And you can buy 10 for 60 glittering coins, 10 shards of a hero that you basically just don't have. So you buy these 10 chests, and when you go to open those 10 chests in your inventory, you'll see I have a few, I believe. And you click these and you go to click use. It'll let you pick what hero and how many of those shards you want to get for that hero. This is a different type of chest than what's in the Glittering Market. That's why the heroes are different, but the ones in the Glittering Market are actually a better deal because, again, you can get heroes that you have missed. There are more in here. These are special chests. So that kind of sums it up as far as the different stores. There's the dailies, pretty good deal. Hot deals, pretty good deal. I would be very cautious about these events though, because you're not getting anything extra with these. You're mostly just getting a single item with no diamonds or anything else with it, so the Glittering Market doesn't feel like a very good deal to me. Compared to some of the weekly deals, like at least you get diamonds, speed ups, you get a mix of things, which to me is a better value for what you spend. And of course the hot deals, good, but mostly I would stay out of them all. And that pretty much sums up my guide for walkthrough of all the different stores, and if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out. Sorry for the length, but I wanted to make sure I covered everything.